This video is an update on Helper Middle School aspect of the bond that was passed in November 2019. This is a $10 million project and it represents 27.8% of the total bond. So there were upgrades that were part of what we anticipated doing at Helper Middle School, as well as structural upgrades. So we'll go over where we're at with that. There are 4 distinct parts to the project. First is the structural upgrades. We placed that number 1, and then mechanical includes the heating, the cooling, and then we anticipate there will be electrical and some plumbing needs as the building is quite old as we start to dig into it. The bus lane and parking would like to be addressed, and then student spaces, focusing on the cafeteria and media center. Here's the chronological order of focus. We see the mechanical is taking very top priority because of the boiler problems that we've had. It's a very old boiler and it's dead. So that suddenly became top priority. And then we have structural upgrades that is also a top priority. We want to make sure that we don't tear up any newly renovated sections of the school, so that's why structural upgrades we feel like needs to be taken care of first. We don't want to do student spaces upgrades and remodeling and then have it torn up again to take care of the structural upgrades. So that has to come first, and then student spaces. The design of the student spaces will take priority in the summer 2020. So that's the plan there. And then bus lane and parking, a little bit lesser priority, but because of the nature of this project, it might be something that can be taken care of actually quite soon. So we'll see how that plays out. So for the structural upgrades, it is anticipated that as you can see in this graphic, we'll pull the wall away here and we'll get close up to what it's going to take to fasten the floors to the walls and the ceiling to the walls. So this will depict just the one level, but we need to do multiple levels. You can see all of those different connections that need to be made. It is a significant project, and there's a lot of digging into the facility to access those nooks and crannies and be able to attach. So you can see this is a very big project, and you know, to put those along there, but we also have the ones at the top as well. So again, a big project. Here's some of the renderings that they have put together of how this will work. Now, I don't understand it. I read it and it doesn't really mean much to me, but this is at the joist bearing condition. This is also at the joist bearing condition. This is at the joist non-bearing condition, and so is this one. I don't really know what I'm looking at, but this explains to those who do know what they're looking at how this is going to take place. As you saw it in the animation, this is the detail of how that's going to look. The mechanical issue is that the boiler is dead, so we need to get on the heating and cooling aspect of the building soon, and we think that that can be done concurrently with the structural upgrade. As far as bus lane and parking, here is one of the ideas for that is to convert this area here into a bus lane, and then you have parking over here. One of the this is the official drawing from I believe it's Jones and DeMille did this, looking at a raised crosswalk, and then you have a drop-off zone here and here. So it's not just a pull all the way through. And then you have a parent drop-off area here. So this is not set in stone, but this is one of the concepts, and we just haven't gotten to the point where we've settled down on exactly. But those are two different concepts of how this could look. Student spaces, the cafeteria media center. In the upper level, this is the media center, so the idea would be to open this up so that it's half wall and then the rest is glass looking out that direction. And that, I think we've talked quite a bit with the board about that. This is a cafeteria, and the same concept here would be that you open this area up so that you can look out. Pretty minimal projects in that regard. Here's a closer up view of the main level. Again, right now this is all solid, so this would be opened up, and this would be a half wall with windows. This whole wall would be a half wall with windows that look straight through. Here's another different concept, and that is to do away with the walls completely and the lockers that are there. The current the current office area would become the library under this scenario. And so the lunchroom and the library are connected as student spaces. The band would move over to this location where currently science is, and the office would move over here. This is the ADA access, so that's one of the thoughts, is that we could facilitate easier access there. And then that's where this idea comes in. If we could convert some of this area to parking, then they have access, you know, the wheelchair access right there, and then the office would be right there. So that's one of the concepts. In order to make that work, we'd need to move history and science up here and another science over here. So that's looking like a really good idea and a possibility, but nothing is set in stone for sure. Disclaimer again, this is a simplified and unofficial timeline. Things do change, so design for the structural upgrade and mechanical upgrade have been happening and continue to happen right now. By the end of May, late May, early June, structural upgrades and mechanical upgrade will begin. Summer of 2020 is when the design of the student spaces, those concepts that I showed you earlier, we will be able to fine-tune those and get them down to where they need to be and fit budget. And then May or June of 2021 is when the construction of the student spaces would begin. Again, this is the aspect of the plan that involves Helper Middle School.